On today's episode, we will review Louisiana Longshot by Jana DeLeon. We will also introduce a new member of our book club. We will announce our next book. Welcome.
Hello, and welcome back to It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club. We're your hosts, Ann Dark
And Tracy Stormy.
and we're excited today because we have a new book club member with us. We'd like to introduce Kathy Knight. Welcome, Kathy.
Hello, I'm so thrilled to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I, like most members, I'm sure, am a lifelong reader. And I started out, much like many of our young women, I'm sure, who read the Nancy Drew books. But I also particularly remember being challenged by solving the mysteries in the Highlights magazine.
Yes,
something.
I
We remember
those.
those, yes.
So that was always a lot of fun. I guess my favorite type of mysteries would be probably historical mysteries. Like historical, like in the 400s and 500s.
Oh, you like the
Yes.
real old ones, even before my time.
Old school. Real old school.
But of course, I enjoy many of the mysteries out today, and I enjoy a mystery across many genres.
Do you have a favorite author?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know, it's like picking your favorite child.
Well, right now I am reading a John Sanford, his latest, and
Oh, his
I
are
love John
always
Sanford.
good. Always good.
Oh, let's see, who else do I enjoy? Waiting for the next book to come out. In the historical type of mystery, I very much enjoy Peter Tremaine, who does the Sister Fidelma
Oh, I
mysteries.
love her books.
Yes.
Yes, those are excellent.
Well, Kathy, welcome. And we hope
Kathy will join us on a regular basis. We'd love to have her.
and that's less talking that Mom and myself have to do.
That we have to do. We don't have to be so scintillating. Whatever that means.
Which is a perfect word for today's book.
Yes, it is. Scintillating.
Yeah, I guess that would be more
With
appropriate.
emphasis on the sin.
More apropos.
So, our book is Louisiana Longshot, written by Jana DeLeon. And Jana DeLeon was a CFO in the corporate world who jumped off of that wagon and started writing books. She was raised in southern Louisiana among the Gators and the Bayous, and she writes several series. She writes the Misfortune series, which has 11 books, and this is the first book in that series that we're reviewing today.
Yay, we got it right again.
Yes. She has the Shay Archer series with 6 books, and then she has the Ghost-in-Law series. She also has 4 standalone novels. So she is quite...
She's a busy lady.
She's quite prolific. She currently resides in Dallas, Texas, and she also has a romance series called the Mystery Parish series. So that's...
Not our thing, but if you're into that
No, but
kind of
if
thing,
you're
there
into
you go.
romance, there you go. So, what did you think of our
Well,
book?
before we get started with that, let's say our disclosure that we do. I hope you read the book because
If you haven't, stop here. and-
because we will be discussing the ending and how this all comes together, and we would hate to spoil it for you. So, like we said, you can listen to this at your own pace.
Yeah,
Go read the book,
It's best to read the book first.
and then
So-
you can write to us and tell us what you thought.
Kathy, what did you think?
Oh, I loved this book. I thought it was a hoot.
It was. It definitely was a hoot.
Cozies are not my favorite type of mystery, but I enjoy one now and again, and this was an excellent cozy.
Yeah, this delivered for sure.
Yes. My only real critique of the book is nobody had a last name. And it got a little confusing. I guess we were raised in the South, and it was always Miss Mary and Miss
We were not raised in the South, Mom.
Maryland is the South.
You were raised in New Hampshire.
I was raised in Maryland, dear. I lived in New Hampshire
This
when
is
I
not
was
the
a
South.
year old.
This is
This
mid-Atlantic.
is not the South.
It is, well, we're south of the Mason-Dixon line. So,
Like the South.
and anywhere,
Try telling this to the Southerners.
Oh, yeah.
and
They'll buy it.
anywhere you met anybody, it was Miss Barbara, Miss Mary. It was never the last name. So that's one of the things with the Southern. We can argue the point about where we live all day long, but as long as we're below the Southern Mason-Dixon line, we're in the South.
I don't consider myself in the South, but
Ask Lincoln.
Ask New Orleanians.
Well,
yeah, we're very
We're
northern.
Yankees.
well, I'm talking Civil War.
Well, this book didn't take place in Southern. So
No, but okay, that argument. Okay, this book is the first in the Sinful series. There are 11 books in total. The book was published in 2012 and has 248 pages. It is available on Amazon. It's available as a Kindle or paperback, or it is available as a hardback book, and you can get it in your local bookstore. CIA agent Fortune Redding's cover has been blown by an enemy in the CIA, and a hit has been placed on her head. She is sent by her boss to Sinful, Louisiana, with the cover story that she is Sandy Sue Morrow, the niece to Marge Boudreau, and will be doing an inventory of the items in her house for her estate settlement. She meets the crazy people in Sinful, Louisiana, and the fun begins.
Yep, it sure did, and that's a good way of putting it. This book was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
So let's go over some of the characters.
Our first character is Fortune Redding. Now, you get to the second chapter before you even know her name, which was a little bit off-putting at first. Fortune Redding is the name she goes by. She's an ex-CIA agent who is in hiding after being outed by an enemy in the Middle East, where a hit was placed on her head after she killed the brother
Of the arms dealer.
of her arms dealer she was investigating. She takes the persona of Sandy Sue Morrow when she arrives in Louisiana.
Then we have Director Morrow, who sends Fortune to Sinful, Louisiana for this adventure that she's on.
The character of Sandy Sue Morrow is an actual person who is his niece.
Yes,
So-
his niece is away in Europe for the summer, so it was a good cover for Fortune to play Sandy Sue because nobody else knew her.
Yes.
And she happens to be a beauty queen,
Oh,
Sandy
yes.
Sue.
Yes. Sandy Sue was a former beauty queen.
Another character is Ben Harrison, and he's a CIA agent. I think he's along the same level as Fortune, so he's also her friend, and he's her only contact while she's deep undercover in Louisiana.
And now we're going to get into the sinful ladies of
Sinful.
Sinful.
We have Gertie, I guess it's Hebert. I had a friend who's had the last name of Hebert with that spelling, so it's one or the other. She is the co-leader of the Sinful Lady. She's approximately 72 years old, and she's quite a character. But then you meet
Ida Bell is Gertie's sidekick. She's the leader. She's the co-leader of the Sinful Ladies, and she's in her 70s, and oh, is she a character.
Yes, she's kind of the unspoken boss of the Sinful Ladies.
Then there's Bones, who is the dog who resides at Marge's, and he is about 100 in dog years.
Yes, he plays a major part.
Yeah, he digs up the bone.
He digs up the bone in the beginning, but that's about his claim to fame in this book. Then we have Robert E. Lee. He dug him up. He's now the sheriff of Sinful, and he's about 90 years old, so he may have known the original. But he's the sheriff of Sinful. He doesn't have a major part in this story, but he's
there.
one of the characters.
And then we have Carter LeBlanc, who is the deputy and Walter's nephew. You haven't met Walter yet. And he kind of plays against fortune in this and kind of is always there to
Catch her.
At the most inopportune
At
moment.
the most inopportune times. Absolutely.
She can't blow her nose without LeBlanc standing close by with a tissue. So,
And then there's Harvey Chickarone. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Probably
Once
not.
again, not linguist.
He is a local man who has been missing and presumed murdered for 5 years.
then you have Marie Chickarone, who's Harvey's wife, and according to gossip, his murderer.
Ooh. Then we have Melvin Blanchard. He's Harvey's cousin. He wants to get his hands on Harvey's estate. He was in prison when Harvey went missing, so he couldn't have done it.
Then there's Marge Boudreau. She is Sandy Sue's aunt, but she has died of cancer. And she was presumably in love with Harvey.
Now, you meet Celia Arsenault. She is a Catholic woman, which sets her against the Sinful Ladies, and she wears new Nikes. And you'll hear why in just a little while. So,
Then we have Francine. She owns a local restaurant and has the best banana pudding ever. Oh,
And
man.
I want to try that. I need that recipe.
Me too.
You know, it's a shame they didn't have a recipe at the end of the book.
Yes, that would have been good because there were a couple things they made in there that sounded pretty good.
Next is Walter, who we mentioned earlier. He runs the country store in town, and he has loved Ida Bell for 70 years.
Then we have Allie. She's a young girl who works for Francine, and she's Celia Arsenault's niece.
And lastly, we have Cheryl, who is Melvin's girlfriend. She is a prison guard.
Yes.
So there you go. There's our cast of characters, and we'll get into what we thought and answer some questions.
What did you like best about the book?
I just loved that it was so funny. And
Yes, I actually laughed out loud a
I
few
did
times
too.
reading this.
You could just picture the pratfalls and things that were happening in your head if you've
Definitely.
watched any of the old Lucy and Ethel television shows. It just seemed like Fortune got in trouble every way she turned around.
And then you had the comic relief of Ida Bell.
And Ida Bell and Gertie, they just kept things moving through this whole story. It was quite a good story.
it moved well. The story just moved right
Yes.
along. I don't think there were any dull spots.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, it
No.
really did.
It kept moving. That was one thing. You wanted to get to the next chapter to see what was going to happen next. It was very well written.
The thing I liked most is, like Kathy had said in the beginning about cozies, is even though this was a cozy, it had a good mystery to it. It was funny, so it just was a little offbeat than what we normally read.
I agree. It was charming. That's one way you could say this book. It was charming. There was a lot of things that somebody who lived up north or in another place probably wouldn't understand people walking into your house, whenever, helping themselves to iced
Well, I
tea
think that's
or
also
whatever.
a small town vibe too. And this definitely was a small town. So,
Definitely.
what character would you like to meet?
Oh, I'd like to meet them all. I'd like to go.
I want to become a member of the Sinful Ladies Society.
Now that you mention that, there is a Sinful Ladies Society Facebook page.
And website.
You cannot join the club because you're married.
Oh, that's right.
That's
That's
right.
right. They have this. And